Peace, everybody. It's Muntahana. So today is January 18th, 2025. And all the talk the past couple of days or so has been about Wendy Williams. She has been calling in with her niece on the phone, her niece Alex, on like a three-way situation, I guess. She has been talking, having a voice in her situation. Whenever I listen to these things, first of all, virtually almost all of them that I've seen thus far, she's talking with entertainers, she's talking with podcasters, or the Breakfast Club. You have people who are, just newscasters with their entertainment segments, talking about it and stuff like that. You have TMZ talking about it. And virtually everybody is on this, nothing's wrong with her, she don't have dementia, they got her captive. I'm sorry to tell you, y'all don't know what you're talking about. So I'm a dementia nurse. I have been nursing, actually I work in long-term care right now. So I work with dementia, but also other parts of the facility. I have been a nurse for 10 years and I've been working in long-term care for about 13 or 14 years. I have taken care of literally hundreds and hundreds of dementia patients, vastly dementia due to Alzheimer's. Though I have cared for people that have alcohol-related dementia. Listen, I know people love a good conspiracy theory, and I know people are sorely against the medical system unless they really need us, right? And just on any day, most people just talk and don't know what they're talking about. And that is really the state of the world we live in. And a lot of people who, like me, can get in front of a camera, oftentimes have a lot to say, but don't actually research what they're talking about. They just are sort of talking off the cuff. And so I wanted to come on here and give a little bit of a nursing perspective to what I've been hearing from Wendy Williams. And surprise, surprise, she does have dementia. She very much sounds like she has dementia. And I've, been reading comments and stuff like that. And you have people saying, my granny was in a nursing home for years and she ain't act like that and all this kind of stuff. One, assuming that people who have any sort of experience in a nursing home as relatives will come and visit their loved ones. I would say first and foremost, the vast majority of relatives do not come and visit their relatives until they're on their dying bed, their deathbed, and then everybody come out the woodworks and they want to be there for those last moments, right? But most people do not come and visit at a nursing home, so they don't really know what goes on in a nursing home. And when they do come, it's most often far and in between. And oftentimes people coming in with these biases to begin with because they see stuff on the news, on, reels and stuff like that. And they already have this idea about nursing homes. By the way, Wendy Williams sounds like she's in a nursing home, okay? Because she never came out and said that. She doesn't seem like she understands where she is, which is quite common with dementia patients. But that's what it sounds like she's in. She's in a healthcare facility. Since she kept saying that she's around old people, sounds like she's in a nursing home on a dementia unit, and I'll get back to that. But yeah, so people are already coming with a deficit of information pertaining to dementia, different forms of dementia, signs and symptoms of dementia, treatment of dementia, behaviors of dementia, healthcare overall, but certainly within a nursing home. Long-term care is a different animal. And then you have different areas in long-term care. So you may have assisted living, you may have enhanced living, you'll have skilled care, which is like when they really totally need help, even sometimes in enhanced living, because it is a business. So no matter how much the nurses try to get people switched over to skilled care, a lot of the times we got to fight and fight and fight for that. But that's a different video. So yeah, so those things I wanted to lay out at the forefront. I will start with the guardianship part, okay? So it seems, and I'm on the other side just like the rest of y'all, just watching what's happening. But what it seems to me from what I'm watching, I watched the whole documentary series and all that stuff, been listening to her speak on her own and stuff, and you know, with her niece there. What it seems to me is that Wendy Williams did not have a healthcare power of attorney in place. And to have a POA in place, you can't just say, oh yeah, my friend gonna do it. Oh yeah, this person gonna do it, that person gonna do it. Unless maybe you're married, it may just fall in line, like fall to your spouse. Unless just like an abusive situation, something like that, and then but even then you have to make moves to safeguard who you want to be your POA. It's not just by default. And so it seems to me that she did not have a POA in place, which is totally typical. We don't usually do those things because we're going to think we don't need them or whatever the case is, or we feel like, well, I have a son. In her case, I have a son. He's going to do it. That's not how it works. Because the point is supposed to be, and we know that there are abuses and that the system is screwed up. It has been, I think, from its inception. But it doesn't mean that every bit of it is no good. Like, you don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. But with guardians, you know, you have to have those things in place, because what the state and the courts are supposed to be doing when they step in is making sure that you're safeguarded. And it's not just for Wendy Williams. It's for anybody. Whether they have all the money in the world or not a dime. They step in and they say, okay, you cannot take care of yourself. And I know everybody is all in the comments and stuff, and God forbid if they come in my comments bugging me. But I know everybody wants to say, like, again, ain't nothing wrong with her. She sound okay to me. Maybe you don't know what you should be listening for. Maybe you have, like, what are you comparing it to? You know? So that's the point of the guardian, to come in and do that. The guardian is court appointed. Let me see. Let me bring this up on my phone, because I went to www.nycourts.gov, and this is the page that they talk about guardianship, court-appointed guardianship in New York. And it says, so a person may need a guardian if they are unable to make decisions, manage their affairs, and are at risk of harm because of serious illness, disability, dementia, or other conditions that impacts their ability to think and act clearly. And so in New York, there are 3 types of guardianship. There's Article 81, there's Article 17A, and there's guardianship of a child. It seems to me that Wendy Williams has Article 81 guardianship. And that guardianship, it says, also known as guardianship for incapacitated adults 18 plus. This type of guardianship asks a judge to give a guardian only the powers necessary to meet an incapacitated person's needs. This may include powers to manage a person's finances and property, personal needs, or both. And so yeah, that's the definition for what Article 81 Guardian is in New York State. It goes on to say, in order to appoint a guardian, the court must find that a person is unable to meet some or all of their personal and/or financial needs, and is incapable of making reasonable decisions, and is at risk of harm because they do not recognize that they need help. Guardianship limits a person's ability to make some decisions for themselves. A judge will want to see that all other available tools and services have been considered before appointing a guardian. And want to see if there's anything else, because I gave you the website, and I will actually link this particular page in the description bar. So it says also, decision-making powers of a guardian. The court will decide if a guardian should be appointed to make decisions about personal needs, finances, or property, or both. The types of decisions a guardian can make are known as powers. A person with a guardian still has any decision-making ability not specifically given to their guardian. So, personal needs power. Examples of personal needs power a court may grant to a guardian can be found in Section 81.22 of the Mental Hygiene Law. These include choosing a safe place to live, deciding who will provide care, and making medical decisions. Property needs powers. Examples of property needs powers a court may grant to a guardian can be found in Section 81.21 of the Mental Hygiene Law. These include paying bills, managing income and assets, and entering into contracts. Limits of guardianship: medical, mental health, and drug treatment. There are some things a guardian can never do. A guardian cannot consent to mental health or drug treatment or other medications over a person's objection. They also cannot admit a person into a mental health facility or treatment program. If it is believed that a person needs involuntary mental health treatment, there are certain processes available, including assisted outpatient treatment, AOT, and court-ordered involuntary hospitalization. You can find out more about this at Alternatives to Guardianship. And you can go on to continue reading. So, again, I was not there. I'm on the outside looking in just like everybody else. But again, it seems to me Wendy Williams did not have a healthcare power of attorney in place. And she proved that she was incapable of taking care of herself. I know y'all want to believe that Wendy Williams is the same old Wendy Williams that she always was. That is not what it appears to be to me. Just again, from the outside looking in, like the rest of you. But it has to be proven in court that she is incapable. Now, what things happened which led to the courts feeling obviously confident enough to say no, she needs help, I don't know. And I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts that none of you know either. Quite possibly most of her family don't know. Because things like that are not just common knowledge that is told to any and everybody, even if it is family. There are the HIPAA laws that people like to bring up. HIPAA laws say that even if it is your closest relative, if you don't give the right for them to know information about you, then they don't get that information. And again, if she didn't have a POA in place, and it's not fair or responsible or helpful, in my opinion, for people to just pull all these ideas and conspiracies out the air and deliver them to the world, to the public, as if they are fact. Even though people like Harvey over there at TMC try to, it seems to me, try to phrase questions and stuff as a question when it is really a statement that people will take and run with. I think, personally, I think that Wendy should have a say in what is happening with her or whatever. But I think the course of somebody needs to step in to make some of these people put a sock in it, because you're making it worse, it seems. Having Wendy Williams come on and have these interviews and speaking the way that she is to the average person who, again, already had biases or are fans of Wendy Williams, or think that everybody is out to get a black person, or whatever the case is. People who actually have expertise in working with people with dementia of, all sorts, they're hearing something different than you hear. And I fear that she's actually making it worse for herself. I really do. I can imagine her niece probably feels desperate, according to them, like not really knowing what's going on and not having control over the health and the existence of their family member. I get it. I would be the same way, honey. That's why my daughters and I just did a webinar a few days ago on estate planning, and we are making an appointment to go see the lawyer. And this is something that we all need to do. It doesn't matter if you don't have all the money that Wendy Williams does and stuff like that. If you have no physical assets, your body is your physical asset. And everybody needs to learn from this situation and, make moves to protect ourselves, our assets. But, so yeah, I really think that, I think that her talking like this can really make a bigger case for the courts to say, yeah, she's incapable. So anyway, so that's with the guardianship. I just wanted to put that out there that, again, conspiracy theories, people think, I don't know, something going on with the lawyer and the judge and the guardian and all that, and, something nefarious is happening. Listen, I'll be the first to tell you, I have applied to be an ombudsman in Pennsylvania to help protect our elderly, because that's my primary, that's why I help primarily elderly. So I get it, and I know that there are many guardians, vastly relatives, but there are many guardians who abuse financially, physically, even sexually, people who cannot defend and take care of themselves. So I'm not saying that the guardian is not abusing something somewhere. It could very well be, but you can't just say it's happening when you don't have proof. People on the internet have a terrible habit of making something fact that is really just opinion based on total ignorance. So that's with the guardianship. With whether or not, or why I believe that Wendy Williams in fact does have dementia, again, because this is what I do. I'm around dementia patients all the time, and from early stages to late stages to death. And so each stage, early, middle, and late stage dementia due to Alzheimer's or other reasonings, including alcohol related, they change. Their behaviors, their abilities, their cognition changes, declining within each of those stages. And it could be a rapid decline sometimes. Other times it can be a very slow and steady decline, but it happens. And again, if you don't know what to look for, it may go way over your head. And one of the big things that people who are not around dementia patients a significant amount of time, they don't get that dementia patients, they think that dementia patients are speaking coherently or speaking with some sort of competence, but child, they don't. They come and tell relatives things and stuff. Like a big one, a lot of times they think somebody stole something from them. Like that is huge. They thinking somebody stole something from them. And if you don't really know the person, because again, we're with them all the time. I know with me, I work all shifts, so I know them, during sundown time, or you get to know the people you're with just like any other time, any other relationship. But if you don't spend a significant amount of time with people, they're not like relatives and outsiders. Basically, they don't understand that what they're saying, like, isn't true, isn't accurate. And I'm not saying that Wendy Williams is lying or anything like that. I don't know. I'm not there with the woman. But I do know, so far as dementia patients, again, I have cared for hundreds of them. They're very forgetful, of course, because they have a cognitive deficiency, degeneration. So they'll think that somebody stole a ring from them, that they never had it in the first place. They think people are taking their money because they can't find their money. I used to take care of a woman who, she was always, no matter when you go in her room, she has the television on and she's sitting there with like a checkbook. Of course, it was the account was, didn't work anymore, but she was always sitting there with a checkbook, and every time you come in there to give her meds or to check on her, she's like, ugh, I just have so many bills. I'm just always paying bills. The woman ain't paying no bills. She live in a nursing home. She don't have her own place anymore or anything. But she's sitting there, she thinks she's writing out checks for bills. You have people who, they're like looking out the window and they're like, have you seen my car? I don't see my car out there. I think somebody took it or something. They haven't driven a car in like 5-10 years. All kinds of things. But if you don't know and you just come in there, you'll be like, excuse me, nurse. She said her car gone. She don't see her car. Like, you might want to send security out there because you don't know this is part of her behavior. So, that's something that, again, people who are not affiliated with dementia care may not know. So I wrote down a few things that I sort of saw. First of all, that I sort of saw during our interviews. First of all, I think it is terribly irresponsible of the Breakfast Club, Charlamagne the God specifically, telling Wendy Williams to not take her medication. This is why I'm saying I think that something needs to be done for people to just blurt out ridiculous, irrational statements and ideas. Why? Stop taking medication. Why? Like, do you know what kind of medication she's taking and why she needs it? Do you know what happens if it was to abruptly be stopped? Because these are chemicals in these medications that we're talking about. You can't just up and stop taking certain medications because it can affect your kidney, your liver, give blood clots, all kinds of things. So to tell her, I told you not to take that medication no more. Shut up. Like, stop. People keep speaking as though they have some sort of expertise. And you don't. You don't. Like, people have to be responsible. But that seems to not be the goal of people or what their commitment is. Their commitment seems to be their own egos, essentially. So anyway, listening to Wendy Williams, I thought that she, so not just on The Breakfast Club, but, Don Lemon and such, I think that her ability to, well, first let me start here first. So if indeed she has alcohol-induced dementia, surprise, surprise, alcohol, getting pissy drunk all the time, and drinking, you know, this dark liquor and all this kind of stuff, it's no good for the brain. And alcohol-related dementia affects women far more and far quicker than males. So FYI. But it affects the frontal lobe, which, you know, means people that have that sort of dementia are going to have difficulty planning and organizing, you know, writing checks, all that sort of thing they're going to have a problem with. They have short-term memory loss. So not long-term memory loss, but short-term memory loss. So they'll remember something that happened a long time ago, but can't really retain things that happened more recently. Confabulation. Confabulation is when they really can't follow their thought pattern or with a statement that they were making. So they just sort of fabricate things and throw them in there. So maybe didn't really happen or didn't happen at that time or whatever the case is. But as a listener, if you don't know these things, it just may seem as a regular, you know, statement or conversation that they're having. But in fact, they're not. You're putting information in there that doesn't actually belong. Difficulty making decisions. I think I may have said that already. Difficulty staying on task. Difficulty following a conversation. Difficulty retaining information. They self-isolate. They have issues with like fine motor skills. So like with their hands and stuff like that, zipping a jacket, buttoning a shirt, things of that nature. With their toes too. But we've seen Wendy Williams' feet due to her other ailments. So things of that nature. They can be moody. They can be aggressive and lash out and hit you and stuff like that. They have, I don't know if I said, they have difficulty walking steadily. There's like all sorts of things that come with that. So getting back to some of the things that I saw with these interviews is her not fully answering questions. So for instance, some things that I just jotted down real fast. When Don Lemon asked her if her phone had been taken after she spoke with Charlemagne, she never answered the question. She sort of went off in a different direction. He asked her how she got in this situation. She didn't answer that, and she sort of passed it over to her niece. Or her niece said, "Well, there's some things she can't talk about because of legal issues." She didn't have to, in my opinion. She wouldn't have to talk about legal issues to answer that question. You could just say, "Well, whatever the case is, I didn't make plans for somebody in my family, my niece Alex, for instance, to actually be the one to call the shots for me should something happen." Again, that's common. How many of you don't have anybody in place? Oh, then he asked her, another thing that I jotted down, he asked her, like, where's her money? Does she have an account? Again, shoot, way over somewhere else she went. You know, she went into like, oh, I have money, that type of thing. That's not what the question was. So she has problem following a conversation. And, you know, you hear her constantly repeating herself. Again, she'll start talking about like, because, you know, I like lipstick and I wear lipstick and all this kind of thing. And, you know, several times he would have to stop her and reel her back in because she was going way over there somewhere. Those are traits of people afflicted with dementia, suffering through dementia. Yeah, I said all those things. Also, she doesn't, again, I don't know if I've been talking for over 20 minutes now. I don't remember if I said this already, but she doesn't seem to understand where she is. Again, common with dementia because they don't remember. She doesn't seem to understand where she is. You know, she's saying like, you know, I'm here with these, you know, 80 and 90-year-olds and like, I can't even get on the elevator. You know, again, with the Breakfast Club, you can't even go to a store. What you mean you can't go out? She has freaking dementia. What y'all don't understand? If Wendy Williams is let out into the world by herself, do y'all not remember when the queen, the incomparable B. Smith, had early onset dementia? And she eloped. She got out of her home. They couldn't find her. She ended up way in, I think it was Manhattan, got off a bus, no shoes or anything. You cannot allow someone with dementia, especially a freaking celebrity, to just go on outside by themselves. Like, you people are not freaking thinking, and it's really quite annoying as someone who cares for people. So that's ridiculous. No, she can't go outside. Also, dementia units are locked down units for that very reason, because they don't know what's going on. They don't understand. You have people who have, say, dementia due to Alzheimer's. And every morning for decades, they got up 5 o'clock in the morning. They left the house, got in a car, and they went off to work. These people, sometimes, a lot of times, they don't understand this new reality of theirs. So they are trying to get out to go to work. They think that they're supposed to go to work. Although they have been retired for 20 years, 30 years, they don't get that because they have cognitive issues. And so dementia units have to be locked down. No, you can't get on the elevator without having a key fob or something like that, because they can get on the elevator and get out. And do you know who's going to be pissed off talking crap about the medical system? Charlamagne the God and them on the Breakfast Club. If something was to happen to Wendy Williams, if she got out, got hurt, got killed, got hit by a car or something like that. So no, that doesn't happen. Also, she doesn't seem, again, to understand she's in a healthcare facility and, again, on a dementia unit because, you know, she was making statements about getting her medication. That sounds like a nurse to me. So she doesn't understand that. She does self-isolate, according to her, because she doesn't want to be around old people. Like, I get it. But she's not being isolated, it seems. She's keeping herself in there. She's having her food and everything in a room on her own. We can't force people to do anything. We can't force people to eat, to do therapy, to come out to activities and socialize with people. We can't force them to do that. All we can do is ask, suggest, you know, things of that nature. But it seems like that's what, you know, she's doing on her own. She doesn't want to be with old people. I get it. I mean, somebody like Wendy Williams, I can only imagine, had a fabulously fun life. And for things to be what they are now, you know, I imagine it must be extremely difficult. Me just seeing what other people deal with in their, you know, regular, sometimes some may think mundane lives that they had, is very difficult because you don't have power over yourself, because you just don't really have that ability anymore. So one of the things people were talking about, like, why can't nobody call her on the phone? They can't call her, but that she can call them. And even if she doesn't have the ability to dial the number, if she comes to the staff and says, I want to talk to Alex, I want to talk to this person, I want to talk to that person, we have to dial the number for her and allow her to do it. But what nobody seems to be asking is, why is nobody allowed to call her? What is the situation? Stop always thinking that something is nefarious. The welfare of the patient, of the resident, is primary. It don't matter what her family is going to get their feelings hurt and all that kind of stuff. They don't matter. Friends don't matter. The public don't matter. Wendy Williams matters. So what I'm seeing from this, rather than, being like everybody else, thinking they doing something, that's dead. If they were trying to do something with keeping her away from the outside, she wouldn't have a phone at all. But as it is, according to her and according to her niece, she can call out, no one can call in. But why is what I'm wondering. Why aren't they allowed to call in? Are they causing trouble? Are they putting stuff in her head and making it difficult? Are they like Charlamagne the God, telling her to not take her medication, which can be detrimental? What are the reasons? What are the reasons? Rather than just thinking somebody doing something dirty. You already went into that. Why does she have a guardian at all? Again, it seems to me things were not in place for somebody in her family, one of her loved ones, to be able to be the ones to handle all her healthcare decisions. Also, people, another thing, they're like, you can't see your daddy. He gonna be 94. What? Was she gonna jump on the plane by herself? Is that what's gonna happen? You might say, well, her family could take her. If they are not her legal guardians, no, they can't, unless they go through the courts or something like that and arrangements are made. But that's not how it goes. And who knows why her guardian won't go, can't go, might go, who knows? I think if I was guardian and having all this, animosity and stuff around me, I don't know if I want to go down there either. You want me to go to a whole different state around this people's family? Listen. But who knows what the case could be? Who knows? Who knows if it will change? But again, I worry that this whole interview thing that she's doing the past couple of days are going to be detrimental to her case and to her situation. Why do they keep asking Wendy Williams if she's competent? That is the dumbest damn thing. If she has dementia, if she is appealing to the public to say, hey, help me, I'm good, I take care of myself, I'm good. What you think she gonna say about being competent? And plus, is she a medical professional? What would be her standard? What is the bar? What is the bar? What does she have to go on? What do you have to go on? What are you comparing this to? Harvey from TMC, I think it was. So one of them said, she sounds, I'm not in healthcare or whatever, like I'm not an expert, but she sounds like she's, competent to me. What does that mean? And somebody like him who's supposed to be a lawyer, I think a lot of them are just using her name in this situation, personally. But so yeah, how is she gonna be able to tell you if she's competent? Of course she's gonna say I'm competent. Also, I'm wondering, why was her apartment sold? Again, if your apartment is sold, that means you're not going back. And there could be different reasons for that, but I'm just curious, why was her apartment sold? And did she okay it? Did somebody in her family okay it? Did the court say, hey, this is going to be long term? There is supposed to be a possibility for people, if they stop drinking and if they're taking, their medication and getting treatment, that some, not all, but some of the dementia can kind of roll its way back. And, they start to recover their memory and stuff like that. But if her apartment was sold, it seems to me she's not going back. This is going to be her life, living in a nursing home. And yeah. Yeah, so that's basically it from with those things. And Yeah, I think it's a terrible situation. It's certainly not a situation I would ever be in. I tell people all the time, I fear dementia way more than I fear death. I do not want to ever, ever, ever be in a situation like that. If I was ever diagnosed with dementia, with Alzheimer's, I think I would pray, just Creator, please just take me. I would not want to go through that. Again, as somebody who has been around it for so many years and who has cared for so many dementia patients or residents, it's a terrible life. It seems, essentially, they're just waiting around for death because there's no, it's steady decline. So yeah, I really feel bad for Wendy Williams and the situation, but I wish that people would like shut up. At the very least, do some research, y'all. Stop just talking out the side of your neck all the time.